Hey cheap bitches, I'm Rob, and this is a very tough on the cheap tip today because this is a subject that I never really thought that I would talk about on here, and actually something that I was too embarrassed to talk about on here is that I once was a smoker. Oh, that's so hard to admit. I know that this might be shocking for some people on here because I have a very health-related channel, and how could I ever smoke or put toxins in my body? But you know, we're all human and we all have our vices, and sometimes things happen in our past that we're not the most proud of, but it's the way that we come out of those things that are the most things to be proud of. And I think that it would be amazing to share my story with you in case some of you guys have the same struggles that I've had. How I started smoking was actually fairly easy because I had family members and friends that smoked. And that right there kind of helped create an environment of smoking for me. I would smoke with friends at clubs or bars to be just a little bit more social, and I would buy a pack of cigarettes for the night. I wouldn't really even go through like maybe 2 or 3. And then those leftover cigarettes started to slowly trickle into my everyday life, where the addiction turned into me smoking a little bit to me smoking a pack a day. Yeah, I know, that's really bad. And it wasn't until one day I looked at myself smoking and I said, why am I doing this again? I didn't even really like smoking. I mean, I didn't like the taste of it. It didn't really make me feel that great. It made me smell, it made my breath smell. I couldn't breathe, I felt like my chest was tight. I was constantly getting sore throats and getting sick, and it was all due to this thing that I was addicted to that I didn't even really like doing. It was at that moment that I said, I need to put an end to this. So I quit, pretty much cold turkey. And today I want to share with you some ways that you can quit as I did, and maybe it'll help someone out there get over this nasty addiction that I'm just so happy to have in my past. So let's get started. Now, the first step to quitting smoking is that you have to want to quit. You can't just have the desire or the dream. You have to want it, and you have to do it. You have to go into it willing to commit and quit smoking. I know a lot of people are probably saying, it's really hard, Rob. I mean, I'm so addicted. I can't fight the craving. But you gotta understand, you are stronger than any addiction. Cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, anything. You are stronger because you have this. And that substance does not have a brain. You are choosing to do this. It may give you a craving, but you are strong enough to fight those cravings. Basically, just you have to really want it. The next thing you need to do is replace your cigarettes. You have to start thinking in the terms of what cigarettes do for you. They kind of give you a satisfaction, a quick satisfaction. You have to start thinking in terms of a healthier option to satisfy yourself. Now, when my body feels satisfied, it's because I'm full. Sometimes when people quit smoking, they go straight to food for that satisfaction to replace it. But that's the bad option because you're just going to gain weight. And because I don't want to start eating food, I wanted to start thinking, well, what else makes me feel full? And I thought of water. Anytime that I had a craving for a cigarette, I would down a bottle of water. When I drink a bottle of water, it makes me feel so full and satisfied. And at the same time, is helping to flush out my system, helping to make my skin better, and it's also great for like losing weight. So there you go. Now, if that option doesn't work for you, there's also the option of exercise or running. Now, whenever I had a craving and I was feeling a little stressed out, I would just go out for a quick jog. Now, what running or exercise does for you is it increases your endorphins, it makes your body feel better. It also starts to work out the lungs that you really need to work out if you're smoking. And also when you're exercising, you're increasing your heart rate, which is making your adrenaline like through the roof, and you're feeling good and you're feeling awake and you're feeling alive. And that kind of helped alleviate the cigarette cravings because I felt a natural high. Now, if those two options don't work for you, you can always go to the old adage of chewing some gum. That'll help to relieve stress when you're a little bit stressed out. It'll also help to be a little bit of a time filler, and it's just easier to have access to wherever you are. I know you're probably saying, well, they have nicotine gum in the patch. Well, I don't really know too much about those. I have heard some horror stories about the patch, and that's what kind of deterred me from trying to do it. I mean, people had some allergic reactions to it and nightmares, and that just kind of turned me off from taking the patch. But if you do want an alternative way to quit smoking, I do highly recommend that you get an e-cigarette. You are getting nicotine in an e-cigarette, but this is very different than smoking a cigarette, for me anyway. I mean, when I smoked one of these, it wasn't the same satisfaction that I got from a cigarette, but it did help to alleviate the cravings. And the great thing about e-cigarettes for me is that most of the times I lost them, I forgot where I put them, I forgot I even had them. So eventually it helped me wean off of nicotine much easier than just going super cold turkey. However, if you have a very addictive personality and you think that smoking this is going to lead you back to smoking cigarettes, then you gotta kind of go cold turkey. Sorry about it. By the way, I just found this in my drawer the other day. That's how much you can tell that I just did not even realize I still had one of these. Another thing that's going to help aid you in quitting is time. Now, it takes about 3 days for nicotine to completely leave your system, and it takes about 2 weeks to stop the craving. If we think about doing this in short-term goals like those 3 days, I feel like that is easier than thinking I'm gonna quit forever. I know that I'm strong enough that I can make those 3 days. And after those 3 days, you're like, okay, well, I made it these 3 days, let's go a little bit longer. If you just take it day by day and get past those goals, those will help you to increase your goals as you go along. Does that make sense? I hope so. Also think about when you want to quit. I'm not saying like set a date or anything, but how I did it was I stopped right before I went to sleep. Now, the reason I stopped before I went to sleep is because when you're sleeping, you can't be smoking any cigarettes and you're already starting the detox process. So if you already know that, hey, I want already like 7, 8 hours, I don't know, I get 7 hours of sleep at least. If you know that you already want without that long couple hours of smoking, that's gonna help to motivate you to continue to do it, or at least it did for me. I also don't recommend quitting during a time that is most stressful for you. Most people find the weekdays more stressful because you're at work, and sometimes that can trigger you to want to have a cigarette. You may want to think about doing it more towards a weekend where you don't have the stresses of work, but you have to really just think about the best time for you. Whatever you choose, you just know that it's not going to be easy. You just can't be like, well, I have work this week. Well, I'm a little stressed out this weekend. You can't do that because then you're never gonna quit. The last thing I feel that helped me quit was reassurance. As soon as I quit, I told someone. The more people that know, the more pressure it's gonna put on you to stop you from smoking. I think that is the most important thing, surrounding yourself with people who know that you are trying to quit and who are supportive of you quitting. I would say tell as many people as possible. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell people at work. Announce it on Facebook if you want to go that far. And if you feel like you don't have a very good supportive system around you, I want you to timestamp this video right now and come back to it whenever you're feeling that you need that reassurance, and I'm gonna tell you, you are stronger than any addiction. You are stronger, more powerful, and you will get through this. Just think about how you're gonna feel a couple days from now, a week from now, a month from now, when you can say, I finally stopped smoking. When you think about it now, it seems almost impossible, but when you're on the other side, you're gonna wonder why you ever smoked in the first place, and that, to me, is the biggest accomplishment. I look back at how silly and crazy I looked and felt, and I can't even believe that cigarettes ever had that strong of a hold on me. And I want you to feel the same way, and you will feel the same way. Because if I can do it, you can do it. Don't give up. I'm with you. I believe in you. Anyway, that's my whole tip, and I hope that you found it helpful. And if it didn't really relate to you, it perhaps might relate to someone that you know. And if it does, please share this video with them to help them out, because we all need a little bit of help in our lives sometimes, right? And make sure that you comment down below, like this video, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you this Friday for another cheap tip, and next Monday for more cheap laughs. back. Just for the record, for those of you who think that I have a smoker's voice or I sound like this because I used to smoke, that is not true. I always sounded like this ever since I was a little kid. I sounded like I smoked a pack of cigarettes. I even had a doctor look at my throat and he said I have perfect vocal cords. So just, that's my voice.